Prime Minister Modi declares India's red line on Chinese incursion.
भारत उकसाने पर हर हाल में यथोचित जवाब देने में सक्षम है।
External Affairs Minister blames China for aggression. India today accesses satellite imagery exposing Chinese treachery. And China's lies on the Galwan Valley exposed.
हिंदुस्तान का है, हिंदुस्तान का रहेंगे और अभी भी जो हमारे हिंदुस्तान के बहादुर सिपाही जो ना वहाँ पे लगे हुए हैं उनको बाहर निकालना ही निकालना।
India corners China with facts. India refuses to blink. That's our top focus on India First.
Hello and welcome to an India Today special broadcast that comes to you from Leh in Ladakh. I'm Gaurav Sawant. We are at an altitude of 11,500 feet. The current temperature in Leh is just about 7 degrees Celsius, but the wind chill factor makes it even colder. Now imagine the plight of our soldiers who are at altitudes between 15 and 16,000 feet, ensuring that the Chinese do not transgress anymore in our territory, and there is a tense standoff. We'll get you the inside story of the standoff. We'll also get you the inside story of China's treachery and deceit. But first, as always, the headlines. News just coming in. Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has briefed Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the latest situation along the India-China line of actual control. And this briefing, we are told, wasn't just restricted to the situation in Ladakh at Petrol Point 14, 15, 17 Alpha and Pangong. So this is a briefing about the wider India-China military standoff, which covers the middle sector in Uttarakhand, also Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh. We are also now being told that the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar was a part of this meeting. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Abhishek Bhalla, editor Defence, who joins us with more on this story. Abhishek, what transpired in this meeting and what's the current situation on ground?
Gaurav, the discussions over the last 2 days have been, about the entire line of actual control, and it's not restricted to what's happening in Galwan, because, the developments in Galwan are extremely serious. Sources have been indicating and saying that it's a volatile situation, and that's the reason why that the security establishment is keeping a very close watch on the activities of the Chinese as far as the line of actual control is concerned, be it the western sector in Ladakh, the middle sector in Uttarakhand and Himachal, and the eastern sector, which comprises Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim. Series of meetings have taken place today. Finally, late evening development where the defense minister has gone on to brief the Prime Minister. And what I'm hearing is that the preparedness has been enhanced across the LAC. Sources say some firm action needs to be taken in various places as far as the line of actual control is concerned, because things are extremely serious as of now. Major general level talks took place all through the day today. No real, breakthrough in those talks, and it's likely that these talks will continue even tomorrow.
Chinese belligerence. Yes, the Chinese belligerence continues. We'll talk about this in greater detail. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he led the nation in paying homage to our braves. 20 braves who've made the supreme sacrifice of their lives, ensuring that the Chinese treachery does not mean that China takes over control of more land, and crucial land where it can dominate the Daulat Beg Oldie Shok Darbuk Road, extremely crucial artery to DBO. The Prime Minister also, in no uncertain terms, said India wants peace, but if there is incitement, then there will be consequences.
भारत शांति चाहता है, लेकिन भारत उकसाने पर हर हाल में यथोचित जवाब देने में सक्षम है।
India, if provoked, can give a befitting reply. That was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's terse and stern warning to Beijing. The message comes 2 days after Chinese forces killed Indian bravehearts in a bloody face-off in Ladakh's Galwan Valley. The PM's statement left nothing to doubt. He maintained Indian territories will be guarded at any cost.
इस बारे में किसी को भी जरा भी भ्रम या संदेह नहीं होना चाहिए। भारत शांति चाहता है, लेकिन भारत उकसाने पर हर हाल में यथोचित जवाब देने में सक्षम है।
Prime Minister Modi also paid rich tributes to the martyrs who laid down their lives for the country.
मैं देश को भरोसा दिलाना चाहता हूं, हमारे जवानों का बलिदान व्यर्थ नहीं जाएगा। हमारे लिए भारत की अखंडता और संप्रभुता सर्वोच्च है और इसकी रक्षा करने से हमें कोई भी रोक नहीं सकता।
The Prime Minister also saluted the bravery of our fallen soldiers.
हमारे दिवंगत शहीद वीर जवानों के विषय में देश को इस बात का गर्व होगा कि वे मारते मारते मरे हैं।
PM's stern message was followed up by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, who talked tough with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi on the phone line. Jaishankar said the Chinese took premeditated action that was directly responsible for the violence. He said it reflected an intent to change the facts on ground in violation of all agreements. The minister warned the Galwan face-off will have serious impact on the India-China relations.
The message from Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the armed forces is clear. India does not provoke, but when provoked, reserves the right to respond, and that the sanctity of the line of actual control should be restored and maintained. India will adopt a comprehensive national approach. This means diplomatic means, economic means, military means, whatever steps need to be taken will be taken. The nation will be on one page in the face of Chinese aggression. With Abhishek Bhalla and Geeta Mohan in Delhi, in Leh, Gaurav Sawant for India Today. Two of the most well-informed voices on India-China relations now join me on the broadcast. I have Lieutenant General D.S. Huda, former Army Commander, Northern Command. He's dealt with Chinese transgressions in this area, in Ladakh, in the past. He joins us on the broadcast. I also have Professor Bharat Karnad joining me on the broadcast. He understands China very well. And General Huda, the Prime Minister said India wants peace, but if provoked, there will be an adequate response. What does this mean, General? What do we expect as the next course of action?
So Gaurav, let me just start by saying that, there has been a great tragedy in Galwan Valley, and our hearts go out to the families of, 20 soldiers who've been martyred. I think it was time that a firm political message be sent to China. And I'm extremely glad that the Prime Minister has now, very clearly stated what our red lines are. That if we are provoked, we are not going to be taking this line down. It was time that it was done, Gaurav, because it's my personal opinion that this crisis has been underplayed a little bit. Where do we go from here? If you look at how the Chinese have, responded and taken actions, normally you would expect that there would be some diplomacy, there would be talks happening. If there are disagreements between two countries, they would be handled at that level. And the military would be, in some ways, the last resort. In this instance, the Chinese have come in and used the military as, in fact, the first responders. Behaved in an extremely brutal fashion, occupied our areas. The response, Gaurav, in some ways, has to also be military. I'm not saying we should get into a conflict, but I think our posture along the LAC must reflect our intent. The way we have been, carrying out operations.
Absolutely, a national posture.
In some ways, non-operationally, I think that posture needs to change.
Just change rules of the game.
We can have.
General, stay with me for a moment. I want to bring in Professor Bharat Karnad. Professor Karnad, China probably thought that it's going to shock us into submission, and that clearly, at least I hope, that's not happening. Professor Karnad, what should India's response be to this obnoxious transgression and action by China?
Look, I think General Huda said that in some way the riposte has to be military. There has to be an equal and opposite kind of a reaction in military terms, wherein some real hurt or harm is done then. And it wouldn't help to be ambiguous about it. The Prime Minister's statement in that respect was a little ambiguous because he said, we will act or retaliate if we are provoked. 6 weeks into the encounters and an awful lot of some 60-odd square kilometers of Indian territory occupied, the Chinese PLA entrenched in Galwan and in the area between fingers 4 and 8 on the Pangong Tso. What more does he expect by way of provocation?
Yes.
What do you mean if we are provoked? The provocation is
absolutely
there. That's a fait accompli. So therefore, there's no point in saying we'll react if there is provocation. There is already provocation, manifest provocation. Now the time is therefore, it's now the time for Indian Army and Indian government to approve a telling response. And I think one thing is certain, we cannot allow the PLA encampments on the Galwan, because that directly threatens and makes vulnerable the new highway we have built to Karakoram Pass from Depsang via Dobruk and Murgo and so on. So we'll have to
absolutely, Professor Karnad. They will have to vacate, and there's no bargaining on that point. But General Huda, if there is a tit-for-tat response, some may argue that this would lead to an escalation. It could perhaps be an all-out conflict and not just restricted to one sector.
So Gaurav, what they have done today is a military response. Let's not fudge it. Let's not even try and underplay it. They have come militarily inside, and as Dr. Bharat Karnad said, they are in occupation in certain places of Indian territory. If we are going to be completely worried about any tit-for-tat response from our side could lead to a bigger, conflagration, then I think we've already lost the psychological war. We need to be able to at least give some response. I'm not even trying to suggest that, let's start looking at an all-out war against China. But if we are going to be completely defensive everywhere and say only diplomatically this thing can get handled, and we accept where they've come in, I'm afraid we are already on the back foot, and we are not going to be able to even negotiate from some position of strength.
The impression I get by interacting with commanders is that they are clearly not on the back foot. That's the impression I get. But let's now take it to the next level and show you the depths of Chinese treachery. India today has accessed satellite images that show that while China may have talked about peace, they were leading us up the garden path. They talked about peace and used that opportunity not only to strengthen themselves, including in Galwan Valley area, but also bring in more resources. Rahul Kawal, Shiv Arur and Ankit Kumar with this India Today exclusive.
Ladakh's new mountain of blood, that's what it's being called. As the body count piles up and India comes to terms with the brutal, premeditated bloodletting by the Chinese army, India Today now shows you the battle zone in cold, stupefying detail. Take a close look at these satellite images from Planet Labs. Photographs taken less than 24 hours after the carnage on the night of June the 15th, capturing in stunning detail the full truth. What you're looking at is the first visual detail of where the Indian and Chinese troops brawled to the death. What these images show is that despite being massively outnumbered by Chinese troops and losing at least 20 men, the Indian side is holding its ground. High-resolution satellite images of Ground Zero from June the 16th show a massive continuing build-up by the Chinese side despite the de-escalation agreement at the Lieutenant General level 10 days prior. These satellite images from Planet Labs, reviewed by India Today, nail the flashpoint between the two sides. Ladakh's new Himalayan blood zone. And here's what we can tell you about these images. Take a close look at this image from the Galwan Valley, where it clearly shows Chinese troops outnumbering Indian troops. An intense Chinese build-up is seen from the China side. At least 200 military vehicles are seen on the ground on the Chinese side. This despite a clear promise to disengage. Well, despite being outnumbered by the Chinese troops and facing horrific casualties, the images prove that Indian troops are holding their position strongly. The Indian Army has officially confirmed at least 20 Indian casualties and several injured in what was a bloody and brutal medieval-style brawl. And these images establish and prove China's direct treachery. Less than 10 days after agreeing to disengage and de-escalate, these images from the Galwan Patrol Point 14 show that China intensified its troop build-ups amidst the de-escalation process. If you look closely, you can see that the Chinese troops are distributed in three parts. The forward part is followed by two trails directed towards the line of actual control. The image from Tuesday shows hundreds of military vehicles lining up on the Chinese side, as well as encampments distributed in the middle and backward parts of the Chinese trail. On Tuesday, India Today broke the biggest military story since Kargil. And now we bring you the first images of the battlefield and how China had no intentions to de-escalate. With Ankit Kumar in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
China brazenly now claims that Galwan Valley region belongs to China. India Today now exposes China's bizarre and false claims. How? How did Galwan Valley get its name? Take a look at this report. I spoke to the person whose great-grandfather actually discovered the Galwan Valley as part of that route to Kashgar. This is an India Today exclusive. With me is Mohammad Amin Galwan. आपका नाम मोहम्मद आमीन गलवान है और जो गलवान घाटी है जहां पर विवाद चल रहा है उसका और आपका क्या रिश्ता है?
गलवान रसूल जो ना मेरे दादाजी है वो 1892-93 में वो गलवान घाटी वहाँ पहुँच गया था। तो अंग्रेज़ों के साथ उन्होंने टेक किया और अंग्रेज़ों ने एक्सप्लोर करते हुए उनका रास्ता बिगड़ गया। तो उन्होंने वहाँ से गलवान नाला जो अभी बता रहा है वहाँ से जगह निकाल के काफिले को सही सलामत दूसरे जगह पर पहुँच गया, तो अंग्रेजों ने सरफना यंग आसमान और मिस्टर लिटिल दिल वगैरह ने उस जगह का नाम गलवान नाला रखा। तो
बहुत बड़ी बात आप कह रहे हैं। एंड फॉर द बेनिफिट ऑफ आवर व्यूअर्स, व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द एंशिएंट ट्रेड रूट टू काशगर, this was the route that was used, because that route that went from Saserla to Sasalma, that used to be covered in snow. A new route was discovered by his grandfather Galwan, Rasool Galwan. Rasool Galwan was a part of Sir Young Husband expedition. तो ये जो एक्सपीडिशन निकला था वो उसका हिस्सा थे, लेकिन उस समय तो बहुत यंग रहे होंगे।
रसूल गलवान बहुत छोटा था उस वक्त, उसकी उम्र 12 साल की थी। छोटे उम्र में उन्होंने सरफरान यंग हस्बैंड और डेमोर के साथ उन्होंने अक्षय चीन और वगैरह में उन्होंने ट्रैक किया एज ए गाइड, एज ए पोनी मैन।
वो पोनी मैन के रूप में गए थे और उसी से उनका नाम, उस घाटी का नाम गलवान घाटी और उस जगह का नाम गलवान नाला पड़ गया।
जी, जी।
तो आज जब चाइना बोलता है नहीं नहीं ये तो इलाका उन चाइना का है,
बिल्कुल नहीं हो सकता। ये तब से 200-300 साल पहले और हिंदुस्तान का है, हिंदुस्तान का रहेंगे। और अभी भी जो हमारे हिंदुस्तान के बहादुर सिपाही जो ना वहाँ पे लगे हुए हैं, उनको वहाँ से बाहर निकलना ही निकलना है।
तो चीन जो वहां आया है वो गलत कब्जा करने की कोशिश कर रहा है जो हिंदुस्तान का इलाका है। इसका कोई प्रूफ है उनके नाम के अलावा?
कुछ भी प्रूफ नहीं उनके पास। हमारे पास प्रूफ है कि हमारे दादाजी वहां पे गया था एक नहीं 10 दफा गया था। और अंग्रेजों ने वो जगह का नाम जो ना गलवान रसूल के नाम पर गलवान नाला रखा है।
प्रोफेसर भरत कर्नाड, व्हाट डू यू मेक ऑफ चाइना सेइंग गलवान वैली रीजन is its territory?
Well, that's the old Chinese tactic. You go and occupy the adversary's land, entrench yourselves there, and then claim that they have done nothing wrong because all they have done is they're on their own territory, and any attempt to recover it by the other side is then deemed as an attack or an offensive action. So this is the usual Chinese tactic. And I think by now, the Indian government, for one, should have anticipated these kinds of actions. The trouble has been that for almost the entire 60-odd years or 50-odd years since the 1962 war, we haven't really improved in terms of reading the Chinese right. We tend to, lay more faith in the words that their rhetoric and the words on the negotiating table than on their order of battle or their military preparedness on the Tibetan plateau or all along the line of actual control. And this is the real problem. Because when we begin stressing the paper rather than actual military reality, is when we begin not to, in a sense, we are not prepared for anything.
General, so now if we want that territory, we need to be prepared to militarily hold it, irrespective of what China may think.
Absolutely, Gaurav. I think this whole issue of morality in international relations, morality, in conflict, and hoping that everybody will behave in a non-treacherous manner, I think we need to just throw this out of the window. Countries will do what they feel is as per their national interest, and we need to behave absolutely accordingly. So if we need to, militarily be prepared for actions, and let me tell you, the Indian military in Ladakh is battle-hardened, it's well prepared, and at the political level, we should not restrict our options just thinking that the Chinese are stronger than us. That impression also needs to go away. So
absolutely.
I think let's be realistic.
What is ours, we need to prepare. Yes. General, I will let that be the last word on the show this evening. I've run out of time, but I would love to continue talking to both of you in the days and weeks to come. That is all that we have time for this evening on this India First special from Leh. Many thanks for watching.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.